Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gold Seal Exam Prep webinar. Throughout this webinar, we're going to be going through some tips and tricks and what to expect on exam day, and we will be answering questions at the very end of the webinar. So feel free during the presentation, you can go to the questions box that is located in your webinar field, and you can type in your questions and I'll be reading them at the end. So my name is Chanel Roberts. I am the manager of the Education and Gold Seal program. So welcome, and I hope this presentation really helps you out in preparation for your January exam. So what we will be going through is how to prepare for the exam, your exam writing strategy, some tips and tricks, the exam format, we're going to go over that as well, what to expect on exam day, and some computer requirements. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Teri Urban. She is a Gold Seal certified professional, and she's been helping with her tips and tricks to prepare writers that are going to write their Gold Seal exam. And so I'd like to welcome Teri, and she will take you through some of her tips. So Teri, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead.
So how to prepare for the exam. I think the most important things that you need to do are to just think about your position and what you need to do during that position for the company you work for. So things like reviewing your company policies and procedures with your coworkers, reviewing your company's manual and documentation flow charts. I have in parentheses here a few items, and these ones are really specific to the safety exam. So processes, training requirements, those are things that are very important to know. For safety specific again as well too, if you review the industry guideline bulletins that are out regarding such things as scaffolding and working at heights, just knowing the fine details within those are helpful too. Any training that you have taken specific to the role that you will be writing for, whether it's a project manager, estimator, or safety coordinator, foreman role too, ensure that you review the course notes from those previous training. So just as an example, leadership and safety excellence, any auditor training, safety administration training. If you did anything specific to estimating, those are good to review as well too. And one important tip for preparing for the exam for the project management and estimating roles is to review projects that you've completed. And what I mean by that is review the projects that you've finished up, the processes and tasks that you performed for that project from start to finish, and ensure that you're looking at things specific to the role that you're writing for. So sometimes we, in our construction industries, wear a lot of hats and maybe doing estimating and project management for one project, but really make sure you're just reviewing the items specific to the role that you're writing for. As Chanel mentioned, you will be receiving some study and support material coming up, so make sure you utilize those practice questions available on the Gold Seal portal and review the information that she'll be sending as well too. So the exam writing strategy that I used was unfortunately nothing. So I was super nervous going into the exam. We didn't have these webinars when I wrote, and I was very nervous. So if I had to create a strategy for myself now, these are the items that I would do. So I would have slowed down a lot. I rushed through the exam. Luckily, I was successful, but I did rush way too much. I would treat the exam like any project that I'm working on and do it one step at a time. So be methodical about the way that you're writing and build your confidence by completing the sections you're most comfortable with first. So for myself, I write well. So the essay questions is where I would start. And then I would go back and do the multiple choice. But that just works for me. Some people are stronger in multiple choice, so you might want to start there. And you can always utilize the information that you've written in either sections to kind of go back and forth. So some items from the multiple choice might help you in the essay, or some of the thoughts that you're processing during the essay questions might help you on the multiple choice. So just know to kind of look back and forth between those. When you are doing the multiple choice, especially if you're in the same boat as me and it's not your strong suit, use a process of elimination. So don't ever skip any questions out. Mark them with the system that Chanel's going to show you coming up in a bit, and make sure that you go back and answer those questions. If you're totally stuck, use a process of elimination. It'll help you out a lot. And finally, make sure that you treat the scenarios as if they were real situations. Your experience that got you to where you are to be a successful applicant in Gold Seal is what is going to help you most for your exam writing strategy. And lastly, a couple little tips and tricks. Like I said, don't rush. There's plenty of time to complete the whole exam. For the essay questions, make sure that you're being overly professional. One tip that I could give is that just think of it as you're writing for a client that you're trying really hard to get, and then you'll make sure that you're really including all the information that you want to. As I mentioned already, use your multiple choice and short answer, vice versa, to help you out. Always answer your multiple choice. Don't skip them. Come back, or if you have to, skip it and come back later, but always flag them. Don't just leave them as unanswered. And one important item is experience. The more experience you have in your role, the more successful you're going to be. I think that's a really strong suit of a tip for this exam. Additionally, make sure during the exam that you're wearing the hat for the role you're examining for. As I had mentioned a couple slides back, if you estimate the project and project manage it as well too, you're going to be thinking of two different roles within one project. Just try and make sure you really isolate the role you're writing for and think of it from that perspective the whole time you're writing. And lastly, again, use the functions available in the online exam to help you manage the exam time and be successful. So those, I would say, are my best tips and tricks.
So for the exam format, right now it has two parts. So if anybody is a foreman on the line, it only has Part A, but for the rest of the designations, there's a Part A, which is strictly multiple choice, and and Part B is the essay / short answer component. So just a little bit of writing involved in that. So the combined pass mark is 75. So you do need a 75% to pass and achieve your Gold Seal certification. During your test, you will be told that it is a 3.5-hour time limit. So please be on time, to start the exam and finish on time as well. As Carol mentioned, all answers should be attempted. Don't leave any blank. And that way you can at least have a guess, submitted, especially with multiple choice because it's 50-50. So in the exam package contents, these will be sent directly to the local construction associations. They are not sent to you directly. So please be advised that everything will be ready for you when you get to your location to write the exam. And what we send in that package are any project specifications that are needed depending on the designation. So some designations require specs while others don't, or other documents, drawings, diagrams, things like that, and reference guides. So the reference guide as well is just a little card that I'll show you what it looks like in the next couple slides, and it will help you navigate through the online portal. So as I mentioned, Part A is multiple choice, so do answer every question. And if you're unsure, you can, come back to them, and you can actually flag questions as well in the system, so you're able to see what you've left out to come back to later. And if you're unsure, come back to it, or just guess. As if you're at the end of your exam and you really don't know the answer, again, just guess. Part B, so the essay short answer questions, what we look for and what the correctors look for is complete sentences, no point form. So make sure that you are answering professionally. just be mindful of your spelling, your punctuation, all that counts towards your mark. And make sure your answer is easy to understand. So just, a simple explanation. Don't go into too much detail. We're not looking for, paragraphs and paragraphs. Just a simple answer will do. And just make sure it's nice and clear. And again, you can also flag these questions if you're not looking to, if you can't answer it on the spot. Once you get to it, you can always come back to it. Just make sure to flag it. So on exam day, what we're going to do is the local construction association, they have proctors that are, they actually are admins that work at the association. They're going to let you know exactly what to do, but this is, just a heads up of what to expect. So of course there's no talking. Use the materials provided. If you have any questions, you can definitely ask the admin and the proctors there that are available to you. We only allow non-programmable calculators, so anything else such as your phone, additional books, please put them away. If you are an electrical estimator or a road building / civil estimator and you're writing the exam, you can bring an engineering scale. It has to be your own. We don't have any spares, so just be mindful of that. And at the end, you would just leave everything on the table for the proctors to pick up. So this is the reference guide that I was mentioning a couple minutes ago. You'll get it on a little laminated card. Basically, this is what you'll see on the exam portal. So you'll see this on your dashboard. It will tell you you have 3.5 hours to complete the exam. You can click on home, the home icon, to take you back to the exam overview screen. One thing to note is this is just from experience with other writers in the past. If you click another browser or click the back button or the escape button, it will lock you out. So that's just, I believe, a preventative measure of to prevent cheating. So just make sure you're not clicking out of the browser at all. And if you are locked out for any reason, though, please let the proctor or the invigilator know, and they will unlock you. Okay. There is a notes section as well, so you can make notes throughout the exam for yourself. As I mentioned, there is a flag option as well. And the list icon is to review the status of your questions. So you'll see where you've answered and where you've flagged questions. So we do have computer requirements. So what we have here are laptop requirements. So you do need to bring your own laptop. Please ensure that you arrange for that ahead of time. We do not recommend phones, but laptop or tablet, but it has to be a large enough tablet if you're going to bring one. Make sure you do have a physical keyboard. So on-screen means touchscreen keyboards are not recommended. And a mouse or touchpad, anything that a laptop has is perfect. And the browsers. So the other thing I do have to mention is in conjunction with the browsers, if your computer has updates that needs to be done, please make sure this is done at least the day before. We ran into a couple of problems for some people that, come the exam, they turned on their laptop and their computer went updating for God knows how long. So just make sure that that doesn't happen to you, and check your computer the night before or a couple days before and make sure it's all up to date. Same thing goes for your browsers. So Internet Explorer is a no-no. It absolutely does not work with the portal. So please do not use Internet Explorer. Make sure that you have Chrome or Firefox, Safari. Those are all great browsers to use. And just make sure that's also loaded the day before. You also must be able to connect to the Wi-Fi. So our construction association staff will help you with that once you get there. Okay, so with the January exam, there are a couple of locations that have a different time. So I will be, as I mentioned, sending everybody an email on January 10th with your exact time. Uh, so because of the time difference and the time zones across the country. So if you're from BC, for example, I believe they're starting at 9 a.m. Their time. So just keep in mind that it's not necessarily noon for everybody. So we will be confirming your exact time through email. So watch for that email. While I'm on the email topic, make sure that you have Gold Seal at cca-acc.com whitelisted. That email will be at the end of this presentation, just because sometimes it goes into junk or it actually gets blocked altogether for some people. We want to make sure that you are able to receive those emails. So arrive 10 to 15 minutes ahead of time. It also gives you time to relax and not be stressed out at arriving at last minute. And it also gives you, of course, the time to prepare your laptop, get connected to Wi-Fi, get everything up and running. Go to the bathroom, drink some water, whatever you need to do to prepare to be ready to write the exam. Okay, so one thing to note for the location, very, very important. Um, Please make sure that you're confirming the location that is going to be sent to you by this email. So we will be confirming, the way the format of the email will be is confirming that you are writing on the 24th. It will be at this local construction association at this time, and that you are writing this specific exam. So please make sure to check those details carefully. A couple of people in the recent October exam did have to switch their location, because what happens is when you apply and you create your application, you're choosing the local construction association in your profile. So sometimes it happens where you just choose one just for the sake of choosing one, but it doesn't mean that you actually belong or can go to that local association. So, for example, if you are, let's say, part of the Vancouver Regional Association, but you actually need to write it on Vancouver Island, those are two different associations, and we just need to make the switch. So please let us know if you need to switch your association ahead of the exam date, and we'll do that for you. Okay, so I'm going to leave this slide up and answer some questions. So I'm just going to go to the question section here. I'm a landscape estimator. Will my exam be similar to the road builder estimator exam, or will the exam be geared more towards my field? So I can't specifically say what the exam format is in terms of similarity, but what we can do is uh, what you need to read is actually one of the occupational profiles and exam overview documents. This is what's going to be sent to everybody in January, so that you can review exactly the breakdown of the exam. So we do provide in this document, in this occupational profile document, we provide the areas of questions for Part A and Part B. So, for example, Part B might be working with specifications as one section, quantity takeoff as another section, writing a letter as another section. So we do break it down for you. I just can't tell you necessarily if it's close to two different designations. So what study material is most helpful when studying for this PM exam? I know it's primarily based on experience, but for nervous test takers, what would be good material? Very good question. So we don't have necessarily study material because it is based on experience, but what we do provide is that occupational profile and exam overview. It really does help because it gives you the scope and the competencies of your designation specifically. So if you go on our website, we have under Gold Seal exam, there are all the occupational profiles listed there, and it's a PDF that will take you through every every aspect of your role and your responsibilities, as well as the outline of the exam. I can't really say, so this next question, what material is most helpful for the estimator exam? Will it focus on all, on will focus all on construction estimating. Again, the occupational profile will help you with that. It'll give you the exact information that you're looking for in terms of exam overview, and it will go through every aspect of the questions. Okay, so what I can do is actually in the email, it would have been in the email as well. We made sure that you guys had access to the occupational profiles ahead of time. So if you can reference back the email where you got the invitation for this webinar, there is a little part in that email where we mention occupational profiles. So click on that link and you will be able to see what I'm referring to. So I can also just quickly show you guys what I'm referring to, if you'd like, and that will help you out, I'm sure. Any other questions at the moment? When when heard that there was some glitches with the online tech, have they been resolved? Okay, so yes, so they have been resolved. I'm not too sure when you heard about this, but they have been resolved, and anything that does happen on exam day is resolved instantly with our tech team because they are on standby throughout the day. So what happens is we get an email. We get an email from the association advising us that there's a little issue, and we deal with it right away. So I just wanted to point that out. Yes, they have been resolved. Okay. I'm just looking for the link for you guys. I'm just waiting for any more questions if you have any. Okay, no more questions. So what I'll do is I'll just show you my screen here. So we're on the Gold Seal exam. This is part of the email. So this is the email that was sent to all of you. And what you will see here down below is all the occupational profiles. Okay, so we'll look at, for example, general contracting for estimator, and if it'll bring you to the PDF. Okay, so if you go down, you'll see all the table of contents, of course. But what it gives you here is what I was referring to, the exam format. So for example, Part A, under your multiple choice, these are the sections that you'll be tested on. Okay, so related management skills, pre-bid, quantity takeoff. Part B, as I mentioned, write a letter, working with specifications. And then it takes you into the scope of your designation. Okay, so this should help you quite a bit for those of you that had a question about study material and what would be covered. All of this gives you insight into what you will be asked on the exam. So it's really actually good preparation material, and it goes into detail even further. Okay, so I would suggest that everybody read through this carefully, and it will help you prepare. Okay. Another question, is there a reason it takes so long to obtain test results? Yes, there is. So it is, we go through quite an extensive review process. So keep in mind that we do have quite a few people working on the results. So all of the corrections are done in two ways. So the multiple choice is actually done automatically. And so those come in first. But the Part B right now is done by correctors, by industry professionals who are volunteers. We ask them to have them marked within a week to 2 weeks at most. We have lately, in the October exam, it took a turnaround time of 4 weeks, only because there were some issues at the beginning, just getting a hold of some people. So just be mindful that we are doing this all manually, and at the moment, we are looking to improve this portal and this process significantly. It will be better down the line, but baby steps to create a better experience for all of you. But we are looking for a 2-week turnaround now for results. Okay, so that's hoping that all the correctors are done on time, and that the reviews of the final grades are done on time as well. Sometimes for certain people, it takes a little bit longer because there's an investigation that needs to be done on the mark. Okay. So at this time, if there's no other questions, I'll actually just show, I know one person asked about the email itself. I'll just open that up and show you what it looks like. Okay, so this is the email you should have received. So I'm going to just open it up to view in browser. This is the email you should have received. If you didn't receive it, please let me know. You can email us at goldseal@cca-acc.com. But if you review below exam prep materials, to review the occupational profiles, click here. So if you just click here, it'll bring you to that exact page that I was on, and you just have to scroll down. Okay, so that's where the link for the occupational profiles is. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining. And again, please watch for the exam details email. It will be coming to you between January 10th and the 12th. And do please let us know if you don't receive it by the 13th, and we'll make sure that you do have it. And if you do have any further questions, please reach out to us by email, and that's goldseal@cca-acc.com. And we will be more than happy to help you out. So best of luck, everyone, and I hope that you all achieve your Gold Seal certification. Take care.